Hey everyone, Alex Koska here, host of Odd Virginia. And if you guys saw my vlog post from this past summer, what I'm doing now is essentially the same thing. You guys are probably wondering, Alex, you promised us a really big October season for the show. It's now almost Christmas, and no show. What gives? Yeah. So, October season, I was really excited for. We had a bunch of guests lined up. Bill had just started managing our Instagram account, and Josh was making title cards for the YouTube channel. And things were going great. I was really, really excited for what we had coming down the pipe. I booked about 7 guests for October, which is pretty unprecedented. That's enough to do basically one show every single week, and then have a couple spill into November. So I was pretty well set for a good little run there. And as fate would have it, just about every single guest that I had booked either canceled or rescheduled and just didn't show up for the rescheduling. Uh, and it's pretty tough in the first place to book guests for a show like this. Not everyone has, not everyone qualifies for a guest for a show like Odd Virginia. It's a pretty narrow little sifter that you have to fall through in order to fall into the lap of a show like this. Um, and even then, about 95% of the people that I email never write back, never respond. And when I do get that response, oftentimes they just ignore me when it comes to scheduling or yada yada yada. There's a lot of hoops that you kind of have to jump through in order to get to the point where there is a interview that has been recorded that eventually becomes the show that you hear. And it's probably the hardest part of making the show is finding people to come on. And so when something like that happens, like it did this past October, where everything seemed perfectly well lined up and it just all bottomed out, the whole bottom dropped out, I got bummed. I got real bummed. I'm not going to lie. And my interest in the show just kind of waned. Winter depression tends to hit me pretty hard, as it does for a lot of people. And I don't know if you can see it on camera. I'm all red and flaky in the face right now. I have psoriasis, and in the wintertime, or in cold and dry weather like we have in Virginia winters, psoriasis tends to flare up pretty badly, and there's a heavy link between depression and psoriasis. Those of you who have it are, I'm sure, well aware of it. And so, I've just lost interest in a lot of things. I've stopped listening to a lot of the shows that I usually do listen to online, uh, like Sasquatch Chronicles and all of those cryptid or paranormal shows, very much like Odd Virginia, that inspired me to make the show. I don't really listen to them too terribly much anymore. And I think, if you get too much of a good thing, it no longer is a good thing. I I'm so inundated with the paranormal and cryptozoological sort of stuff that I think I just wanted to give it a rest for a little bit. I still like it. I still tune into those shows every now and then, but it's not like I'm listening every day like I used to. And I think also some of that has to do with me just getting close to the subject matter now, being a host for a similar kind of show. You just get to a point where you're too inundated, right? So that might also have something to do with it. And I wouldn't be making this vlog right now if it wasn't for those of you who do listen to the show, who are people that I don't even know, who have tuned in and have just emailed me just to tell me, hey, I really like what you're doing here. The Odd Virginia spin is a good one on this whole paranormal interview show format, and I'm enjoying it. Please put out more. Um, to those of you out there who have emailed me, to total strangers, I appreciate you guys. It really has encouraged me to make this vlog and to try to continue doing the show. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to continue doing my regular upload schedule like I had been doing, just because there's no guarantee that I'm going to have guests. And I may be able to do some more story time, like read stories from Reddit, like I've done in the past when I didn't have a guest booked. But the main focus of the show has always been to get firsthand accounts, eyewitness interview kind of style show. And that's the way I want it to be going forward. So everyone out there who has been, wondering where the heck Odd Virginia is, this is where we're at. We're not done yet. Once again, I may have told myself a time or two that stick a fork in me. I'm done. I'm washing my hands of this and moving on. It's not worth it. No, we're still here, and it's all thanks to those of you who actually are listening and reaching out to me. That communication, I know we get listens. Sure, it's not like a rapidly growing show, but it is a growing show, and just to know that it actually means something to someone. Seeing a view count doesn't mean anything to me if I don't know the kind of enrichment that you're getting from it. And that's where the feedback comes in. So people have been emailing me randomly. Friends have been asking about the show. At this point, I think Bill feels like he's whipping a dead horse because he keeps trying to get me to make another episode, and I'm just like, in my moody blues, not really responding to much. But Bill, yeah, we're still going, man. Sorry about that. And my friends and family, my sister's probably the biggest fan of the show. I didn't know she'd have any interest in anything like this. And she's told my parents, who I didn't even want to know, that I was making a show based on paranormal topics. And they've told people at church, and people are just sort of coming together and tuning in. And I'd like to see that continue to happen, but it's not going to continue to happen unless I keep making the show. So we're still going. And unfortunately, wintertime, I'm pretty financially strapped during this time of year. And that means that I'm not going to continue to pay the distribution costs. It's a recurring monthly bill, and right now it's just too much for me to be able to afford. So all the platforms that you normally see Odd Virginia on are distributed by Buzzsprout. I independently upload stuff to YouTube and Rumble, and Buzzsprout handles the rest. They're my distributor. They upload to all of your podcast platforms like Stitcher, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever else. There's like 15 or more of them that they upload to. And it's where most of the listener base comes from. So unfortunately, we're not going to have that anymore. The reach of the show is only going to be coming basically through YouTube and Rumble, which is a joke at this point. But I feel like I could invest in the future of that platform if it continues to grow the way it is right now. But I had a plan to just keep the episodes on Buzzsprout instead of buying more upload time, which is what I was basically paying for. Is they give you a certain amount of upload time per month based on what you pay. And since I wasn't uploading a show, I was like, well, just pay the $5 a month in order just to keep the episodes that are already on there. And my credit card was declined. So those are probably going to disappear if they haven't already. And I'm sorry about that. But that's just kind of the state of things. But yeah, there we are. I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas. I love you, and thank you for listening to Odd Virginia. Stay odd, everyone.